Hey guys, welcome back to another What If. Here today we're doing part 6 to What If Naruto wakes up as a girl after rape. If you want to know what happened in last part, then I'll be linking the description down below, which take you to a place where you watch all the previous parts in order, and then every future part like I added to this, which is, or at least one more part 7, which will be out tomorrow when you're watching this. So Sunday. Yes, Sunday. And yeah, anyway, with that, let's get into this. So, about a year would somewhat go by, or more specifically, a year from when they'd become a team. So, Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi would just be sitting in kind of somewhat training ground 7, somewhat talking about, somewhat how their kind of life is, somewhat, how, they're somewhat, life, and that changed over somewhat the year, and yeah, and of course somewhat they'd also kind of somewhat, or at least wound up also talking about how Naruto had somewhat also got, actually had somewhat gotten comfortable over the somewhat now 10 months that she'd been a girl for. And well, yeah, to be honest, somewhat in for Naruto, somewhat herself now, it was part attack by the somewhat, by somewhat 1-7 had known that she was somewhat a female a month or two after that, and she really couldn't see herself nothing more than female, whereas before she could somewhat see herself somewhat as male, somewhat, but now generally you just forgot that she used to be male at one point in time. And yeah, though of course somewhat, though as the hours would go by, or at least minutes would go, an hour or so would go by from them talking, Kakashi would end up, as a kind of comfortable silence would somewhat fall upon them, Kakashi would end up somewhat, kind of somewhat pulling out somewhat 2 bells and simply stating if they'd like to try the bell test once more. And yeah, Naruto and Sakura just somewhat look at one another and would somewhat shrug and would somewhat look at him and go sure. And yeah, so they'd spend a chunk of time somewhat doing that, though of course when that time would pass, and well, yeah, it's generally, or at least somewhat for them, granted the other teams were either doing missions or training or something like that, they didn't really kind of sit down to kind of reminisce, but somewhat they kind of did, as it was more or less something they kind of just wanted to do that. And well, yeah, Kakashi somewhat also knew this was pretty much his family now. He somewhat had a kind of somewhat family, team. So, somewhat, Sasuke, somewhat had left the village, but it wasn't his fault. He had somewhat, done his best to, train them and show them that, they were getting stronger, but it was just, somewhat, Sasuke obviously felt jealous that seemingly, obviously the dead last was now pretty much rivaling him, if not better than him in strength and that. And well, yeah, he just kind of somewhat thought it was stupid. And yeah, to be honest, this was also one of the somewhat only days now that actually took kind of off, as somewhat, of course, the Akatsuki and S rank groups had been, obviously her and Kakashi and even Sakura herself, been training. So, Sakura's obviously getting up there and someone's lying, but so is Naruto and Kakashi. Kakashi was obviously somewhat now about high Jonin, and Naruto was kind of Naruto had somewhat broken the barrier of somewhat tuning. She was very much no tuning, and well, yeah, Kakashi somewhat just knew it was just a matter of somewhat time to when Naruto would get that promotion to Jonin. Sure, there were, potential, like, Jonin exams or something like that, but yeah, somebody just knew Naruto's kind of mission record as kind of, Naruto did tend to do a load of missions somewhat to themselves, just the two of them, and occasionally, of course, Sakura would also accompany them. And yeah, though mainly because Sakura is still obviously somewhat training, and still like considered somewhat a trainee in the medical ninjutsu, even though she's somewhat a lot better than most of the somewhat medic nins in the hospital. So I still consider a trainee as, and yeah, and though from there two somewhat months would go by, and somewhat maybe just before Naruto a somewhat normal days, for her, it was just somewhat a normal kind of somewhat day. And yeah, she'd arrive somewhat at training ground 7 to obviously somewhat see Kakashi and somewhat Sakura there. She'd be slightly curious why Sakura would be there, and even asks, so as she knew, Tsunade pretty much kind of always was always pushing Sakura, to obviously train and that, and somewhat, though she'd even state, obviously ask what was Sakura doing here, and she just somewhat state that she'd had the day off from training under Tsunade, in which she just somewhat nod and, well, yeah, I wouldn't think somewhat much more of that, of course, somewhat. And so they would somewhat go about training that up until about somewhat 11 o'clock, when somewhat they were all kind of somewhat sitting down, or at least somewhat mainly kind of Sakura and Kakashi were to somewhat catch their breath, mainly Sakura though. And yeah, those somewhat should ask Naruto if she remembered what today was. She'd kind of strike and would obviously tell her what the day was, and she'd say no, not the date, what happened a year ago from today. Naruto would just somewhat be confused and would somewhat just shrug, saying why it was so special, and somewhat Kakashi would just point out that it was the somewhat day of which she became, or at least somewhat woke up as a female. Just like Naruto would just blink again and would just go, huh, I guess it is. So what's so special about it? And somewhat they'd kind of just sweat drop at that, and eventually somewhat they'd end up talking for an hour, to which an Umbi would actually end up coming somewhat in and would simply ask for, or at least somewhat Tsunade kind of wanted the team in her office. They just somewhat nod, and they would obviously go to the Hokage Tower, into which somewhat Tsunade kind of, Tsunade would smile at them and would then somewhat go, and would then somewhat proceed to kind of promote Naruto from Chunin to Jonin, to which she'd be obviously shocked, and and somewhat like she did some odd months ago when she'd been promoted to Chunin, she'd kind of bolt over the desk, somewhat thanking obviously Tsunade. And yeah, and somewhat, to be honest, most of Naruto's some abilities now were, like, some of Naruto's worst abilities were below Jonin, and somewhat best were somewhat nearly borderline somewhat S rank, so somewhat borderline low S rank, which would be Konoha, so Hokage level in abilities. And so and so of course from there more time somewhat passed, and 2.5 years so it would end up passing, as she'd be of course 15, and should currently be sitting down, or at least not quite sitting down, but she'd be in training ground, having so much training, and somewhat by now she had entered the realm of somewhat S rank. Both her and Kakashi had somewhat entered the both her and Kakashi were both somewhat S rank, and similarly, like Kakashi, she had also had been somewhat in pretty much every bingo break minus Konoha, of course. And yeah, though similarly somewhat unlike kind of Kakashi and Rich kind of somewhat had a status that they could obviously try to, somewhat fight him. Naruto's one was that if you were somewhat if you were somewhat tuning or lower just to, somewhat, flee on sight, and that if you were joining to, if the somewhat option arises to somewhat potentially somewhat flee, obviously to take that, it somewhat state that you should flee as well if you're joining, but that you could potentially try to, but that you'd probably more than likely die, and somewhat only for Hokage level to, or at least only for Kage level to go and somewhat try and potentially pursue her. And yeah, of course the reason why somewhat, or at least she got that and Kakashi didn't, was because, somewhat of her stamina and also her obviously mammoth somewhat chakra reserves that by now were somewhat equal to the 9 tails, the half of her inside of her. And yeah, because also somewhat during that time she'd also had gained a decent control over the fox's somewhat chakra, and of course somewhat, and as David Jones, sure she'd obviously the somewhat agreement still stand that she'd use it only when absolutely necessary, which somewhat generally meant kind of only really against S rank somewhat opponents. And obviously that was more than fine. And she generally only had to use somewhat going into somewhat using what's it called, nature energy, entering into Sage mode boosted her abilities to somewhat like mid S rank to borderline higher S rank, and then jumping into somewhat 1 tails of the Fox's chakra would boost her to low like double S rank shinobi. So yeah, if she was using her Fox is somewhat, if she was using 9 tails of chakra, it was just a hard flee on sight, though it didn't stay that in the bit because of course they don't want to make her seemingly a lot stronger than somewhat, the other village wanted to at least somewhat give some of their high rank shinobi some somewhat more against somewhat her. Yeah. Anyway, though somewhat at the moment, of course, she'd also had mastered all 5 elements, pretty much to, she'd completed both level 1 and level 2 in all 5 elements, and she could also somewhat pull, or at least was still, somewhat could pull water from the air, and was still obviously training to do so. And that, and that also, of course, somewhat Dryad also had learnt to had finally kind of truly mastered Sage mode. So he had perfect Sage mode as well. So he'd even noted the actual power increase in somewhat using perfect Sage mode. And anyway, though somewhat at the moment, similarly somewhat if you to like in Training Ground 7, you'd see similarly a clone, or you'd similarly see somewhat Naruto floating, and by any means I'm not giving her, of course, gravity manipulation. She doesn't have that. What she's doing is manipulating the somewhat wind around her, somewhat chakra exercise. to manipulate somewhat the wind to keep her upright and floating, or, well, more specifically flying. Well, she wasn't really flying, she was floated, but she could fly. And yeah, though this was also very much just a clone, and she'd somewhat had a couple of clones somewhat out. You know, obviously some in every element, at least somewhat 5 in each one. And yeah, though Naruto herself was just kind of meditating in the middle, mainly somewhat just doing some stuff, or at least somewhat just kind of doing her own somewhat stuff, whatever she was somewhat doing, when somewhat she'd all of a sudden find herself in front of the somewhat fox, and she'd somewhat wonder kind of what was going on. It was somewhat rare for, you know, for somewhat the furble to, you know, bring her into her mind, and she'd go, somewhat, why have you, somewhat brought me somewhat here? He'd somewhat look down at her, and simply state that his somewhat brother was in trouble. She just somewhat stare at the fox and would go, which one? There's what? There's 9 of you minus Matsari, so there's somewhat 8 of you which are male, 1 of you, then the other one is female, but one's in you as well, like 7 brothers. Fox would just somewhat stare at her and would state the One Tails. Somewhat Shikaku is in trouble. She'd somewhat be confused when she'd realise, wait, you mean the somewhat Akatsuki or somewhat, or whatever that organisation somewhat is being called, is called itself, is, yeah, being attacked. Afterwards someone got wide-eyed, and she'd nod, and she'd obviously tell the Arcana something right now. She'd snap open some of her eyes, and yeah, when she'd hear an Anbu somewhat call out for the real her, which she'd get up and go to ask him somewhat what was up, and the Anbu would simply state that she was being called to the Hokage's office, which she'd just nod, and she'd proceed to tell the Anbu that she'd be there right within, you know, a couple of seconds or so. The Anbu would just somewhat nod and would disappear in a puff of smoke. Not in a swell of leaves. From there she'd she'd just casually make a shadow clone, and it would just almost instantly dispel itself, giving the other clones somewhat obviously the command to dispel and to stop and dispel. So they would, and yeah, Naruto would also somewhat channel chakra throughout her entire body, somewhat pulsate, causing somewhat sweat and that to just obviously be shot off from her, somewhat drying herself and that. And yeah, though as she'd somewhat walk towards a tree and that, to where she'd put her somewhat jacket / jumper somewhat onto, she'd somewhat open her mouth, she'd somewhat open her mouth as water would simply form in it, before somewhat shutting it and swallowing, somewhat letting out a kind of somewhat a content sigh from the cool somewhat water. And yeah, she'd somewhat just grab her somewhat jacket and just throw it over her shoulder, as really the only thing somewhat she was wearing was somewhat her blank somewhat 1.5 inch Konrichi sort of kind of, they weren't because they would be on somewhat an inch, they were considered high heels now, so pretty much somewhat 1.5 inch somewhat high heeled somewhat black Konrichi somewhat sandals, which ended up, or at least somewhat ended just below her somewhat somewhat kneecaps. And somewhat a and from there burnt orange somewhat short shorts, and then they just somewhat black sports bra, which is really the only thing someone she's driving at the moment. With her somewhat obviously, with her somewhat somewhat dark orange / red jacket / jumper somewhat on her, flung over her shoulder, and headband wrapped around her head, and yeah. The hair would somewhat also cascade down to somewhat her butt, which is where she'd just had it capped, due to the obviously somewhat jutsu and rich dried torture, although somewhat kind of somewhat maybe some 2.5 years ago, when they'd somewhat gone to fetch Tsunade. He'd taught her how to use her hair to somewhat form a shield and weapons, and a somewhat weapon in which many of people have obviously stupidly grabbed her hair, in which she'd used it to pierce their hands, and because she also had obviously somewhat wind, well, she could sharpen them to pretty much be swords, and obviously holding on to pretty much tiny swords or needles, well, they just obviously somewhat cut right through the skin like a hot knife through butter, and yeah. And anyway, those should somewhat quickly sense in, or at least somewhat, those should also somewhat pass their chakra, somewhat releasing the shadow clones, shadow clone jutsu, just making sure her clones did indeed release, and would somewhat seemingly just fade away and reappear in the Hokage somewhat office, seeing Kakashi and Sakura. To which Tsunade would inform them of somewhat that the Kazekage Gaara had been had been attacked and had been taken as the Akatsuki obviously had taken them, pretty much what she stated in canon. And yeah, they would somewhat nod, and from there they would should obviously tell them to somewhat leave as soon as possible, to which they would nod, and they would be dismissed, to which they would somewhat go to the top of the Hokage's office tower, to which Kakashi would ask if they were ready, in which Naruto would nod, stating that she's always ready, and Sakura would also nod, saying the same thing. And yeah, from there they would then just proceed to somewhat leave and going at about high Anbu, somewhat level speed, and just running straight through the gates and running towards Suna. And after seemingly some time of running, Kakashi would simply somewhat look back and would then simply state, "Naruto, I think we're far enough away," to which she would just somewhat nod and would somewhat increase her speed somewhat a lot more, to which she would then proceed to jump up into the somewhat sky, and then somewhat state to transform. And I was somewhat from the smoke, should the somewhat 9-tailed fox would appear. And of course she couldn't obviously somewhat use tailed beast transformation, as she could only control up to the 3rd tail. Somewhat, or at least while she's mastered the 3rd tail, she can control the 4th, but she was still having some somewhat trouble with controlling it, so anyway, though from there somewhat she'd somewhat lay down, to which Kakashi and Sakura would somewhat get on up, and she'd then proceed to somewhat do a somewhat stride and a half before somewhat landing right next to what's her name, Tamari, to which a clone of Naruto had formed, or at least telling her that Gaara had been somewhat kidnapped. Had been attacked, and Gaara had been taken by the Akatsuki, should be shocked and should somewhat immediately kind of climb, somewhat jump on up to Naruto, and from there they would proceed to go forward at full somewhat speed to it, or at least would somewhat get up to speed to it. Somewhat after a stride or two should somewhat tell them to hold on tight. Those and which Kakashi and Sakura somewhat perceived to do, though should somewhat wonder what Naruto meant by that, though she wouldn't, and Sakura just somewhat tell her that Naruto could go to somewhat such high speed that they wouldn't be able to, though she wouldn't be able to finish that, as Naruto would somewhat perceived to just break the speed of sound. Thus, the only way they could really somewhat communicate would be somewhat if they were sitting in front of one another. So, yeah. Oh well. Anyway, those should, of course, quickly somewhat, at least before long, should obviously somewhat, go into Suna and would somewhat continue forward for a while, sort of, up until she'd end up somewhat, kind of somewhat stop and telling, somewhat Tamari to, telling Tamari to get onto somewhat a tell, and to somewhat, prepare herself for a somewhat, landing at Suna. She'd be somewhat confused, but would kind of do so, and that she'd know should be somewhat in the air rapidly going away from somewhat Naruto, or the nine-tailed fox. Naruto transformed as the nine-tailed, and she'd somewhat perceived to obviously somewhat cast them out, but too far away. And, from there, they'd somewhat make a somewhat dart forward. Well, not exactly forward, but in a somewhat angle towards somewhat Kankro, as Naruto could somewhat feel, I could sense what Kankro's chakra, and it felt, well, it didn't exactly feel too good. So somewhat dropping down somewhat besides Kankro, or at least landing besides Kankro, Sakura would somewhat drop down and would somewhat realize they'd been somewhat poisoned, and would somewhat yell up to Naruto if she could somewhat fling, the two of them towards Suna, to which should make a shadow clone of herself, which would somewhat kind of hold somewhat both Sakura and Kankro. They'd jump up and should somewhat, with one of the somewhat nine-tails, would fling them towards Suna, with somewhat clone being there to manipulate wind to decrease wind resistance, and to add some propulsion, so to extend the somewhat power by the arc to land at Suna, hopefully the front gates. And from there, Kakashi she then turned towards where the Akatsuki somewhat were, and Gaara's barely somewhat seemingly alive chakra. Though she would ask if the fox had any sort of new intel, to which the fox would simply state that and simply and somewhat just tell her that it had no new information, and that Gaara was in a somewhat critical state, and that a state in which he'd recover from, but still a dangerous state, which would definitely take him somewhat more days to recover than to where they were probably going to somewhat class. And but obviously, though somewhat just that, and though somewhat a final leap should simply should somewhat Kakashi should somewhat push off somewhat from her slightly, as Naruto would would somewhat release the transformation, and they would proceed to somewhat land to it, Deidara and Deidara and Sasori would somewhat have always would end up jumping somewhat back. Oh no, forward somewhat a bit, though turning around to see who was seemingly about to squash or potentially kill them. To which Naruto and Kakashi would land in somewhat a small crater. And yeah, though they've got so somewhat the 9 towers coming somewhat south, well, that's somewhat handy. Yeah, to which Sasori would somewhat go, Deidara, don't underestimate her. After all, she's an S rank shinobi after all, in which you just somewhat shrug and go, she'll be no somewhat problem. And yeah, though somewhat from there, Kakashi would take on Sasori, whilst Naruto itself would take on Deidara. Of course, Deidara could obviously make bombs and could also fly on them, and she could also fly using wind manipulation. And yeah, and she also had Deidara's, or at least Deidara's kind of or at least abilities downside, which was she could obviously also manipulate lightning to a, well, she was considered, or at least in Konoha, to be a master of light, of some of the 5 elements. So yeah, and so somewhat it wouldn't really take her, or it would take her all but maybe 3 to 4 minutes to somewhat, well, take Deidara out. And because Deidara had kind of somewhat really, obviously he'd mainly be considered an S rank due to his ability to make exploding clay, but if he went up to, against someone somewhat with a high, lightning affinity, or a master of lightning like he was somewhat ranking pretty much dropped, as well, somewhat lightning could defuse some of the bombs, meaning they would explode. So yeah, though it was still somewhat annoying, but she did manage to somewhat defeating, actually somewhat pretty much doing a lightning jutsu which pretty much cooked them inside out pretty much. And yeah, though she'd somewhat momentarily worry about Gaara, as of course some of her lightning jutsu could have also very much killed him as well, to which the Fox would state that he was still alive. And yeah, though of course those who'd take out a somewhat kunai and would slice of Deidara's head, sealing it away, and picking up somewhat Gaara's body, and would somewhat fly over to fly back to Kakashi, was to which by the time she'd arrive, not being in a somewhat hurry, as Kakashi could obviously hold himself, he was somewhat S rank after all now. Yeah, though when she'd arrive, she'd also see Kakashi similarly clearing, or at least somewhat just similarly there, somewhat similarly waiting, to which she'd ask if he'd somewhat similarly finished with his opponent, or if he'd gotten away, to which Kakashi would state that he was somewhat dead, and that he was and would somewhat point to the somewhat ground to, or at least somewhat some small distance away from him, to which he'd see a small odd cylinder, fleshy, disgusting object, to which he'd state that Sasori had pretty much become that, and had somehow pretty much, and pretty much had somewhat puppets, and yeah, pretty much was a puppet in a way, to which he'd somewhat just nod, and yeah, from there they would proceed to head back to, or at least Naruto would somewhat transform in, Naruto would somewhat would give Kakashi Gaara, and would proceed to transform into the 9 Tails once more. And yeah, from there of course somewhat about 3 days would go by, Though of course in those 3 days they did send back, once they'd arrived back in Konoha and Gaara had been taken from them, Kakashi had sent back a messenger bird with the message of mission completion. And they couldn't believe how fast they'd sort of arrived there. And yeah, anyway, though besides, from course there, nothing really interesting would happen about those 3 days. Though today, or current time, Gaara would open up his eyes to simply see just a white ceiling, and he'd wonder if he was dead, and he'd even say out loud, am I dead? And so I did hear a familiar voice. No, but you may no, but you probably may have wanted to wish so. I would blink, and he'd turn his head to the side, to which you'd see his brother Kankuro. And he'd go, Kankuro? Yeah, Gaara, we're in the hospital. Soonest hospital, you're alive. He'd be surprised they came. They took you, and Konoha brought you back here. Or at least more precisely, Naruto and Kakashi, Konoha's twin Ash rank. And he just nod, and from there, or at least even though, or at least team, 7 was kind of going to say stayed up until Gaara would wake up, though somehow Gaara would end up convincing them to stay 2 more days, and after those 2 days they would go back to Konoha. And from there, when they would get home, and tonight they would obviously do about it, and would dismiss them. Though Kakashi would mention that Sasori did tell him about a meeting with simply one of his spies within with obviously over at Chamaru's, and obviously I would be would wonder about that, and would ask if he thought Sasori was lying, to which he'd kind of shake his head and state that it was his pretty much last words. Hokage-sama, I don't think he was lying. And should obviously think about that, as though someone to ask someone about kind of, or at least though someone after talk for picture dismiss him, telling him that to tell her, or that she would tell him his give him an answer sometime later. And she just nod, and also one more thing I or at least forgotten to mention was that, or at least Sakura's also, of course, when she became, obviously she'd become tuning like she did in canon. And though by the time of or at least 2 years, she'd managed to become or at least special Jonin, mainly as she'd started to train more and more once more with Kakashi and Naruto again. And she was mainly considered special Jonin due to the fact she was still more overly specialised in obviously medical ninjutsu, but she was increasing obviously her abilities with her fire manipulation, and she did have she did also kind of could also use water, but to nowhere near the same degree as Naruto, of course. Yeah. Anyway, though, of course, some time would go by, and somewhat Tsunade would end up telling, telling Kakashi, something to obviously do the mission, though, those should also tell him that, they would be having somewhat a new teammate, which should ask kind of why, and that they didn't really need a new teammate. They've been, perfectly fine somewhat up until now, to which should sigh and should go, I know, but the council don't think so, and should go, so? Kage-sama, someone where, well, heck, me Naruto Jonin, Sakura's, special, special Jonin, they can't, surely, they can't, and should sigh, and, yeah, though, yeah, they'd talk a bit more, it should end up gradually, and obviously somewhat, especially once you obviously tell Kakashi whom this person kind of was, or at least was from. Kakashi would be pretty much adamant that if she lets that person on, the mission was probably going to go somewhat sideways. In fact, the mission probably may already go sideways, but trust someone from Root almost definitely somewhat certainly, and would state maybe a mission after this, somewhat after this mission, you'd take him, but not with this, level of critical sort. Should say those should go find Kakashi. And yeah, and so from there, Naruto, Sakura and Kakashi would once more go on this mission, on the Tenchi Bridge sort of mission, to which of course Kakashi would use the transformation to transform himself into Sasori, and yeah, though of course it would end up going somewhat sideways, and yeah, to which obviously even tomorrow would similarly somewhat arrive, and yeah, of course, from there they would end up battling, to which Naruto would end up increasing, though similarly, Sage mode wasn't doing all that good, so she would end up going into the first tail. And a unique thing that her and the Fox had realised was that when they worked in harmony, instead of a red chakra, in which every Jinchuriki had, and even she did, like when her and the Fox weren't working together, she had a normal red 1-tailed, 2, 3-tailed cloak, and then from obviously 4 and upwards it was a black, black, or at least 4 was black, and then 5 had bones, or at least 5 had some bones, 6 had more bones, 7 had the beginning of muscles and eyes, 8 had the fully formed pretty much 9 tails, all muscly, and the 9th tail had the skin and skin, fur, and all that. Yeah. But when her and the Fox were working in unison, the her obviously blue and red mixed together makes purple, though going with a different obviously somewhat shade in the purple range, which would be violet. And yeah, they'd gotten a kind of purplish violetly kind of chakra when they worked together, and the overall also, or at least strength in the form was a lot better as well, which was kind of confusing to both of them, because couldn't be, Tailed Beast transformation because he wasn't transforming into into him, the nine-tailed fox. So they were somewhat confused to what was it and why only somewhat it occurred to them and not, the other, eight-tailed beasts. Well, as the Chinchurchian raiders could transform into their tailed beast. Yeah. Anyway, and so somewhat should end by entering the first tail, and then somewhat as they continue to somewhat go, should end up realizing, and even the fox would end up realizing to should begrudgingly somewhat enter into the somewhat fourth tail, to which Kakashi would be very wary of, as somewhat him and Kakashi, while Kakashi knew all too well on the fact that obviously it's a very almost somewhat unstable form. Sure, Naruto had made massive progress in controlling it, but she still could sometimes lose control, and yeah. And that's the thing, she still didn't have obviously the key dried, still kept, someone kept that, and yeah. Anyway, so she'd end up somewhat doing the tailed beast ball, and just casually, somewhat, or at least she'd ask the fox while she was somewhat forming the tailed beast ball, somewhat, what to do. She'd just somewhat launch it at him, or somewhat swallow it, to which the fox would just casually tell her to somewhat swallow it, as it would give it a lot more explosive force. And yeah, she'd somewhat nod, and of course that did mean it couldn't be as somewhat powerful, though it was still a lot more powerful than a normal tailed beast ball, as also a tailed beast ball enhanced by Sage Chakra. So her somewhat seemingly her eyes, which were, or at least generally in this form, a slitted red, were, or at least somewhat in this current form, was slitted purple / some way kind of violety purple colour, but they were also had bars in them, so it was a plus, pretty much, somewhat plus in her eyes, a purplish violet-y plus, and yeah. So she'd end up swallowing the tailed beast ball, to which obviously the of course somewhat the Orochimaru obviously somewhat run through hand signs and probably some of the deity gates, the great deity gates, and yeah, we just managed to barely obviously someone survive it, though he'd end up kind of already somewhat using that, smoking that as a distraction, and would manage to get out of that, to which though she'd end up managing to though Kakashi would somewhat approach her with a bit, kind of somewhat a bit anxious, though she'd somewhat turn to Kakashi and would and would release the somewhat chakra, the fox pulling the chakra back in to back into him, and yeah, Kakashi somewhat let his somewhat sigh of relief, and though Naruto would somewhat ask the two of them, what should they do now? Should they go after him or what? After all, it could be potentially our only chance to find out where, somewhat, Sasuke is, and potentially maybe get him back, but obviously highly unlikely. They would somewhat talk for a tad bit, but they would somewhat agree to, or at least somewhat just this once, kind of go after them. So they would, and they'd end up, of course, encountering Sasuke in that, and yeah. And of course, Sasuke would obviously end up trying to somewhat show off, to which, you try and enter something Naruto's mindscape, to which, somewhat Naruto would simply disappear, and would simply go, well, better luck next time, because I don't think you can enter the mindscape of a shadow clone. Now Sasuke would somewhat glower at her, as he'd seem to still be inferior to her, similarly still weaker than hers, of course. Yeah. And though just as he's somewhat about to obviously try and find her, Orochimaru would obviously somewhat call Sasuke that they'd better be going. And yeah, he'd grit his teeth, but he would somewhat listen for right now. And of course from there he'd somewhat disappear, and yeah. Though Sakura, of course, somewhat doing that time as well, or at least somewhat 2.5 years, or at least doing something this time. Sakura had also kind of lost interest in Sasuke. She'd, somewhat training with Kakashi, and that should, it started to really lose interest with, somewhat Sasuke, to the point where she even is currently, right now, currently now dating Rock Lee. And everyone, somewhat almost similarly, everyone besides one, somewhat Ino, I think, almost similarly had a very crush on someone who was potentially dating someone, because Ino, still had obviously her heart and eyes for Sasuke. And yeah, anyway, though from there they would somewhat return, and after that they would end up meeting the similarly third teammate, Sai, and of course, which somewhat Naruto and Kakashi and would somewhat be wary of, as Kakashi told Naruto a lot about the obviously somewhat route, and even though it was considered to be somewhat disbanded, it obviously really wasn't. And though obviously somewhat it left Naruto asking, how come somewhat, Tsunade and the old man, had somewhat similarly, him marked down as, a somewhat, banished him, or, something like that. And Kakashi would simply shrug and would state that he wouldn't know. And anyway, so obviously some time would pass, and they would continue to train and get somewhat stronger naturally, and obviously also do somewhat missions. And this is where I'm going to end this part here, guys. So if you have enjoyed this part, do tell me. And guys, if you somewhat have a good day and night, turn it on wherever you're on, whenever you choose to watch this, and good bye.